You may love a thing that I detest, bagpipes, long hikes, sweater vests. Our interests are all varying, it's fun to be contrarian. But I'll try things that you all love, to see if I can rise above. But maybe there's a chance that I just won't. So in that case, don't mind if I don't.
Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. Hey, I'm your host, Aaron Gold. Now, this is the show where I don't like things, and then fans and experts of those things convince me why I'm wrong. Like most people that hear, I like music. It unites us and can resonate with emotions we haven't fully been made aware of. And then there's bagpipes. These loud as hell honk bags have been around since the 14th century, when Egyptians or Romans decided that the only thing that could make the dulcet tones of screaming geese better would be to make them louder, and humans' fault. Bagpipes became synonymous with Scotland, because when your home is cold, windy, and largely unintelligible, you want an instrument that reflects that. These things have the same energy of someone blaring music from their car, but instead of eventually driving away, they help bury your grandpa. Playing guitar is complicated enough. If I'm going down on a crocheted spider just to hear the sound of a vacuum puking, that's just not worth it. Now, everything on this show gets rated on a scale of 0, my ambivalence, to -10, which is my blood-curdling hatred. Bagpipes clock in at a -6. Because if I'm going to listen to an instrument, why on earth would I choose the one that looks like puppet lungs and sounds like God sobbing? But this is Don't Mind If I Don't, so let's see if I can learn to like bagpipes. Just give me a moment to pray to Ra, not the Egyptian sun god, the WWE show. Joining me now is our co-host, author, writer, director, playwright, photographer, model, and painter, Christine Stoddard. Christine, thank you for joining me on Don't Mind If I Don't.
Yeah, I had nothing else going on.
Fantastic. Now, according to my notes, it says you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
And from my understanding, I just want to know, is he a handsome boy?
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
Also joining us are a couple of bagpipe experts. We have John Henderson of NYU and Kings County Pipes and Drums Band, as well as Dr. Cassandre Barden, the assistant professor in cultural musicology and founding director of the International Bagpipe Organization. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So my first question when it comes to bagpipes is, why?
Because they sound amazing. What do you think?
It is the instrument of loud anger and proud memory. Now, why wouldn't you want to throw that underneath your arm and frighten people? Because that's a lot of fun.
Now, this might be from my limited perspective as, admittedly a Jew, but aren't the Scots loud enough? Do they need the help?
Well, one, yes, but bagpipes go well beyond the Scots. It's an instrument which has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Actually, the oldest piper was Roman. There was Emperor Nero. And he was a very vain man. He was all into fast chariot racing and into bagpipe playing. And actually, we think that when Rome burnt, he probably didn't fiddle. He probably played the bagpipes, which kind of goes back to your sound of like
That'd be
anger.
so much
and
more haunting if your whole town and city is burning down and you just hear a cacophony of detuned rubber chicken screeches. That's bad vibes.
Yeah.
And you are continuing the Nero's dark desires with this.
But what didn't happen is the pipes, the Scottish pipes probably didn't come through the Romans. Those pipes that we have in Scotland today probably came via other routes across the last 1,000 years.
Like how? Via Etsy?
It could have been through the land route, through France, etc., or it could have been through the sea route via Spain and up to Ireland and Scotland. And actually, there's a lot of relationship between Ireland and Scotland, and the old Scottish pipers would have learnt the bagpipes in Ireland whether with the old bardic schools, with the bards that were the bards of the clan leader in Scotland. And initially they were bards and they played the harp and they sang, and then eventually they were replaced by the pipers, who took over that ancestral role, and then that got established in Scotland as the pipers, with all the beautiful tradition that we know.
And entirely without written music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, entirely without written music.
Well, I don't think there's a
oral
way to
tradition.
write bagpipe music other than honk, 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 louder honk.
Sort of. It's actually a good part of that. A good part
And
of
he
that is
admitted
true.
it.
Good part of that is true.
So I'm on my game today.
How you would, again, these are people who don't read or write themselves, right? You transmitted music, at least in the Scottish tradition, with something called cantric, which was you would sing a tune and each vocable had a meaning that was attached to it. And so, because you could memorize this, even if you could not read or write yourself, you could memorize a song with words. That's how you pass the tune down. That's how we have tunes that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old.
That were just hot down by going, bah, bah, bah. Now you try it, Scott.
Scott.
They're Scottish.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, these are loud, they're heavy, they're complicated. I mean, like, why can't you just play harmonica? Because then you're still annoying, but then you don't look like you're sucking off a Muppet.
They weren't invented yet, that's why.
They predate harmonicas.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
So
absolutely.
how did the bagpipe even come to be? What is it?
Okay, so basically,
I'll take this one. What it is that they look like demon spawn, but they also sound like them.
Yeah, I asked the world-renowned scholar.
All right,
good
I'll
try.
take the note on there.
Good
Thank you.
try, good
Thank
try.
you.
You do see them in paintings sometimes depicted in where there's a bit of hell, and you see a piper to people who are basically burning and being eaten by monsters. But you also see them being played by angels, so you know, kind of balances out.
Okay, but like angels in the sense of like, the actual biblical with like 12 eyes and 18 wings and just looks bad to look at them?
No, the pretty ones, you know, with the nice kind of long hair and the wings, and they look really nice, and you've got some angels playing the bagpipes as well.
You heard it from the doctor here yourself. People with short hair don't go to heaven.
That's not what I was saying. I was saying that
Pretty sure
angels
that's what you meant.
sometimes have long hair in paintings. That's what I was saying.
So many inventions have some kind of accidental origin story, right? And I'm curious, does a bagpipe have anything like this? What was the original material, the source material? How were these instruments first made?
Okay, so Emperor Nero is a good example. So
Right.
Emperor Nero
What?
of how the bagpipes were created. So Emperor Nero actually played a double flute. So if you have in your imagination those beautiful Roman pots with these musicians on it, you often see someone playing a double flute. Not a bagpipe, a double flute, right? Those are called the avros. So they're these double flute. They're still played in Sardinia today.
Make people look like musical walruses.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what happened with Emperor Nero is that he was a vain man, and he was afraid of getting rosacea by playing this instrument because you do circular breathing. You play with circular breathing, which means that in order to do that, I'm going to look silly doing this, and you'd need a glass with a straw if you want to practice. But you basically fill up your cheeks, and then whilst you're inhaling with your nose, you press the air out. And that's how you do circular breathing. But it's tiring. And he was afraid of getting rosacea, so they stuck a bag onto those pipes and made a bagpipe.
And that did what? Other than making them look
It allows
ridiculous?
for a constant sound even when you're breathing. The bag is acting as a reservoir, and so now you can have a constant sound coming out while you're playing and still breathing. The bag is acting as a reservoir, as a capacitor to allow air to come out. And then once you get one thing coming out of it, you start to go, well, we could have two things coming out of it, or three, or four. And that's why you start with either two flutes or drones or things that are adding. What sounds good to you is what you're used to hearing. So if you're a shepherd all out by yourself with no one entertained by yourself, you're the best damn bagpiper on that hill because there's no one else to listen to except the sheep. And you have a lot of time on your hands, which is good.
I'd argue that someone who doesn't play bagpipes would be a pretty good bagpiper. Just because, like, the sound of bagpipes sounds like what I imagine flat earthers hear when they're presented with proof. Like, it's a screech. It's unpleasant.
So you're used to hearing the Scottish bagpipes, and they're actually the loudest bagpipes that exist on Earth.
I'm uneducated, but would have guessed that.
And there are over 130 different pipes in the world, and some of them are very quiet.
There are 130 different kinds of bagpipes.
That's correct. Over 130.
Now, did at any point anybody think, hey guys, let's just give up and do something else? Because if we haven't gotten it in over 130 yet, maybe it's time to pick up a guitar.
Oh, maybe they got it in some of the bagpipes that you haven't heard yet.
I don't like you using logic at me.
You can have 2 or 3 bits. You've got the bag, which can be made out of a goat, could be made out of a seal, could be made out of a cow skin, could be made out of a dog skin even. And then you've got the chanter, which is where you play the melody. Sometimes you've got the chanter and something next to it, which is like a drone. And the drone does this long notes.
Now that I'm familiar with.
Yes,
and
that's what
drone
you know.
is a very apt term for
Right?
that.
We do say sometimes that pipers drone on. So, we also, we're kind of a little bit self-aware.
I'm feeling emboldened right now.
No. Could we back up to the animals
Yeah.
that you mentioned? So what part of the animal is this?
It's the skin.
Just the
Yeah,
skin.
people often say, oh, it's made out of a pig's bladder.
Right.
That's what everybody thinks. And indeed, you could make a small bagpipe out of a pig's bladder, but it would be very small. It would be probably for a toy, for a kid, but it would be...
And it's good eating, too, if you have the right recipe.
That's true. But that would have been in the olden days. Today, it's mainly leather or just the outer hide of the animal. That would be used, yeah.
So vegans can't touch these.
Yeah, it's not a very vegan instrument unless you have a synthetic bag.
Which is what I play. I play synthetic bags mostly for my own convenience.
That's interesting. I've been referred to as a synthetic bag often.
Is I know people play sheepskin. They have beautiful tonal qualities. They take a great deal of maintenance. They become very cranky if you don't play them all the time. And so there's a certain care and feeding of these things because it's an animal hide and it wants to be maintained in a certain way.
I don't know if there's any animal that's like, oh, if you're gonna make me honk, you gotta make me honk all the time, baby. All night party!
So basically, you can fill the bag up in 2 different ways. You can either blow into it, like the Scottish pipes. Everybody imagines the Scottish piper like blowing into the bagpipes. Or you can have another contraption which was invented in the 16th century, probably in France or in Eastern Europe, we're not sure. Which is basically you tie into the side a pair of bellows, just like a bellows for the fire, and that fills in the bag with air, and then you play. And you can sing at the same time, you can smoke your pipe, you can do everything you want, because, you're not blowing into the bag.
Why do you think that one didn't become popular in Scotland?
Oh, it is popular
It's
in
absolutely
Scotland.
popular in Scotland. Yeah, but again,
Yeah,
but
get her.
no, but typically if you're playing a bellows blown pipe, you're sitting, like an Ellen pipe or small pipes or things like that. Which means one, it's also much more of an indoor instrument. You'd play it for dancing. If you have to sit down, it's hard to move. So like the marching cello player never took off. If you want to be able to move, march, do whatever while you're playing, then bellows are hard to do. So originally, and again, we have instruments that have been used to communicate in military times before we had radios, before we had the ability to communicate like that. You had drums, you had fifes, which are very, very high-pitched and very piercing, and you had bagpipes because they could carry either over a long distance or over the sound of guns and horses and all these other things going on. That's what you were trying to do. The bellows-blown pipes tend to be milder and quieter.
So I guess this does not apply to the bellows one. To play these, you are blowing and also doing like a third grader armpit motion with these
Typically
things.
under your left arm, but yeah.
Under my left arm?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That
That's right.
seems very important.
I know a few right-handed pipers, but it's an assault against everything that's holy. So yeah.
So what do the left-handed people have figured out that people that are right-handed haven't learned?
Actually, historically, even in Scottish pipes, you could play left or right-handed, but with the pipe bands, it looked better if everybody played the same way. So they changed it around and had everybody play on the same side. But I've talked to some pipe majors in Scotland who just said, historically, it would just be whatever hand feels comfortable, and people would just play that way.
And we should also differentiate between top hand, left hand, or right hand, and what side the bag's underneath. So
There's so many elements to just,
Yeah.
like, again, guitar is just hold down a thing, keep a rhythm. But this is like you have to, like, pat your tummy and rub your head and sneeze and do a backflip, all for
Yeah.
big, loud honks.
Yeah.
Do the different types...
Why are you so satisfied? You've dedicated your life to this horrible thing.
You can actually add another level if you have bellows blown, which are very sweet and soft bagpipes. But not only are you pressing your bag here, but you're also here. So you look like a lame duck when you're doing this. So sorry for bellows blown pipers.
I wanted to ask, so the bellows sounds quite different or not really?
Generally, they'll be sweeter, quieter pipes. And the bellows have quite a big significance in the world of bagpipes, because when they were added to these instruments, suddenly it meant that the more, let's say, phallic connotations that you could have with bagpipes were moved away because you weren't blowing into the instrument.
Moved away enough.
Moved away enough for it to be acceptable for ladies to play the bagpipes. And so from then on, you start seeing more ladies, especially 18th century France. You see a lot of ladies playing both hurdy-gurdies and the Baroque musette, which were kind of harking back to these pastoral and rural kind of ideals where their instruments were totally not pastoral or rural. They were highly complex instruments with lots of keys. And that gets transmitted also to the British Isles, where the bellows instruments were generally marketed towards a gentleman market. And so a well-to-do gentleman would play the flute or play the bagpipes. And they were much more expensive as well because they used lots of very nice materials, ebony and ivory and silver and all these different things.
That being said, a poorly tuned guitar, poorly played, is unpleasant to listen to. A well-tuned bagpipe, well played, is a beautiful thing to listen to. It is possible that in your experience you have heard some bad bagpiping.
So what distinguishes a good bagpiper from a bad one?
You know what? I've actually done a study on this and a survey.
I thought you were going to say, you know what? I don't know.
No, so I did this survey when I was doing my postdoc, and we were looking at the arm, like in the bag, and 250 pipers answered this. And it was like, what makes a good piper? And in that sense of like good control of the instruments. And it's basically someone who can control through the pressure on the bag, the drones being stable, as well as the chanter being in tune. And if you've got an in-tune chanter and stable drones, then that's like the top of what a bagpipe can do. And then what you do with your fingers, how many ornaments you put and how many grace notes and everything, that's just adding on to the skill and adding on. And some
That's just icing.
It's icing on the cake.
And we can all agree the people who put less icing on the cake are wrong.
I like some icing.
Yeah, the Scots like a lot of icing.
I like some icing.
The Scots like a lot of icing. When you see their music that is written, actually, because the Scots have the Scots have developed pibroch, which is considered as the classical music of bagpipes.
What is it? Can you say that word again?
Pibroch.
Piobarchd, just like it sounds.
The letters you just said made sense, but together sounded
very different.
Bizarre.
Pibroch.
Pibroch.
That's correct.
Oh.
Living with the rolled R. Very
job.
nice. Yeah.
I'm pretty good at piping.
And so you see it written down, you see the melody, and then in between every single note, you've got about 5 or 6 notes that are written in tiny, that are like the grace notes, the icing on
The secret
But again,
notes.
we only
Secret
have
notes.
9 notes. The other thing is to talk about
Scottish pipes.
Scottish pipes. We only have 9 notes. They've decided that since we only have 9 notes and we cannot change the volume, that we're going to, by ornamentation, cause some interpretation to come across. And piping also, especially pibroch, it's not timed the way normal music would be in terms of it's 4/4, 3/4, it's some rhythm to it. It's very subtle changes in the timing of notes are used to convey certain things that are coming across. Now,
Like beatboxers.
Wait,
Sort
you
of
can't
like that.
change the volume?
no, it has one, it's on or off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how hard you blow?
No.
No.
What?
That's interesting and also kind of irritating.
Yeah, actually, sometimes you play with bands and they're like, "Can you play a bit quieter?" And you're like, "Yeah, no, sorry, mate, I can't."
No.
We
You
once,
can't contain these pipes.
we once got asked to play at the Waldorf Astoria for some fancy thing, and they said, "Well, you'll be in the hallway as people go through the hallway to the fancy dining room." And,
You'll be assaulting these people
and
sonically.
I said, "It's going to be very, very loud." She says, "Can't you play softer?" And I said, "No, So we're not going to play in the hallway. We're going to play over here as you go by. It's just, again, it's on or it's off. Yeah.
Haven't you ever been to a Kaylee?
I know people named Kaylee.
Right, so there's Kaylee, as in Kaylee Jones or Kaylee Smith or all of these names. But then there is the Kaylee dance that you can go to. And it's a bit like a contra dance where you have someone calling and then you've got musicians. And you can have Scottish pipes also playing for these. And then it's fantastic because you've got this... At weddings, you've got a bunch of very drunk people having the greatest fun, dancing around to what the caller is calling, and then you've got these great sounds coming at the back, and like for dancing with other instruments. It's wonderful.
And again, there's different
Just one
culture,
pipe
different cultures have different ways of expressing themselves.
Yeah, I was about to say, it doesn't... I feel like happy doesn't really come out of bagpipes in too many of them.
Everyone or most people have heard the concept of awake. Well, what awake used to mean was you were trying to wake or rouse the dead. That was the keening, and that was the being incredibly
Did that
loud.
work?
Well, they kept trying.
Fair enough.
But that's where the word wake comes from. You were trying to wake the dead. And so you'd go and you'd be very loud, and women would be crying and wailing away. That's what you were showing, not only that you suffered this great loss, but you were hoping we will wake them up and they'll come back to us. So there were places where loud sounds and screeches and wails were considered part of a cultural thing or a shared community thing that you did. And it wasn't always happy. Sometimes it was sad. Sometimes it was angry. It was all these various emotions expressed in a really big way. When I practice, I'll go out to the Quaker Cemetery in Prospect Park because, one, it's a cemetery, and two, it's Quakers. If they're there, they're not going to fight you, which is great.
10th of March happens to be International Bagpipe Day.
Well, every day is International Bagpipe Day if you're living right.
Right, okay.
Or very, very
piper.
wrong, John.
But yeah, 10th of March is International Bagpiper, and I happen to be the co-founder of it in 2012. So yeah, and now people from all around the world celebrate International Bagpipe Day on 10th of March. I'm a member of the Bagpipe Society in the UK, and they had their publicist there who was thinking it would be, Andy Letcher is his name, he was thinking it would be great to do an International Bagpipe Day. And he says, but nobody's really on board with this idea. I was like, this is a great idea, let's do it. And so we just brainstormed, and I was a PhD student back then, so I said, I'm a PhD student, I can just organize a bagpipe conference, as one does. And so basically we found a Saturday that was pretty much free, and that was 10th of March. And I booked the Chancellor's Hall in Senate House in London, got the university on board, they put a press release, the BBC got interested and everything. Yeah, it was the first international bagpipe conference ever.
And it's really close to the Ides of March, which ties back to Nero and his fun honking.
Right, yes, okay. But just to let you know, this is the bagpipe that I bought with my entire life savings when I was 18, and I saved up money for 5 years from the age of 13 to 18.
I'm so afraid I'm going to drop
So,
it now.
no, you're fine.
I wasn't before you said that.
I bashed people's heads with it.
Oh
so,
my
So we're
gosh.
good. We're good.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be like,
You're gonna,
Do-do-do.
first of all, you blow it in, you blow it up, and then once it's completely blown up, you press with your arm.
okay.
All right, let's get those fingers. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's enough. Yeah. No. It needs to be completely full.
Felt pretty full.
Yeah,
All right.
no. It needs to be completely full, as if it was bursting. More. Okay, now go for it.
How much like Fat Bottom Girls did that sound like?
I don't know Fat Bottom Girls.
Oh, Queen?
No,
Yeah,
oh,
it sounds like
sorry.
this.
Okay, press on it. There you go. Well done.
That was kind of fun.
There you go.
So, bagpipes. Are they existing? They do. And to prove it, we have Dr. Cassandre here with a nice little ditty while I try to figure out how to sit in this stool while wearing a kilt. God have mercy on us all.
Aaron, you learned so much today.
I did!
I'm so proud of you.
I'm more of a person now.
Yes. Fully developed adult.
Mm-hmm. And she said it, and it's filmed, so no one can deny it.
Okay, like 85% of the way there.
I'll take it.
What did you learn today?
I learned that bagpipes are loud as hell.
Yeah, why?
Well, because you cannot change their volume.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, they're just there. I also learned that they are surprisingly easy to play. What?
So you're good at it?
I didn't say that. I'm better than I was when this episode started.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But like I've tried to play trumpet and saxophone before, and you've got to blow in a weird way, like. But with bagpipes, it's truly just inflating a bag, and it's a lot more intuitive than you'd think.
Could I see the trumpet thing again? Yeah, I can see why you were really good at it.
Sarcasm hurts everyone, Christine.
Okay, so how would you rank bagpipes now?
Well, if we started with bagpipes at a -6, I'd say that now bagpipes clock in at a -2.
Wow!
They're still very, very loud, and they aren't the most pleasant thing to listen to, but playing them's pretty fun, I gotta say. So maybe put some cotton in your ears and then have a time.
Yay! I'm so proud of you. Boop! Dear viewers, that is growth, and that is a new thing for Aaron. We're gonna cheers to that.
I think we've had a great time, and you can't deny it because you saw it happen. For Christine Stoddard, I'm Aaron Gold saying, do your don'ts. Tink.
So strong.
I like this.
Too much.
Don't ever do that to me again.